how this is going to be orchestrated. Mr. Nazario, do you have a plan for this? We can wing it if you don't.
Putting together a plan as we speak.
Okay, so the purpose of this meeting is to declare a local state of emergency regarding the storm. I think they're calling it Invest 97L, which I'm not sure exactly what that means, but regardless. Some people might wonder why we need to declare our own state of emergency when the governor has already declared a state of emergency that encompasses Hillsborough County. And Hillsborough County is in the process, or maybe since I left home, they maybe have signed their own declaration of an emergency. But the reason that we do our own, as you know, but there may be somebody watching who doesn't understand, is our own declaration in our city triggers some administrative things under our ordinance that would not be triggered just under the umbrella of the county or the state's declaration. So in terms of federal funding or reimbursement, FEMA and all that, we are covered by the state declaration and the county's declaration. However, again, there are some things mostly pertaining to our employees that are only triggered if we declare the state of emergency. And it enables us to do some things and spend money in a different manner than we would have to go through the procurement process for normal operations. So that's why we are here. I thank the council members for being here on such short notice. Thank you, Ms. Barlow, for pulling that all together, and thank you to our staff. I know you've been scrambling all day. I just left the sandbag distribution center out on 301 a little while ago, and those guys are baking into little puddles of what used to be our employees out there. So we do appreciate, Jason, what your crews are doing. They're working very hard, and every year we do that, we get better at it. They have tents up now and so forth, but you standing in the shade when it's feels like 118 is still feels like 118. So in any event, the only thing we need to really decide on, or I'm presuming that we're going to do this, but we do need to figure out the time that this emergency declaration takes effect. In talking with our acting city manager, we propose to the council that it take effect at 8 o'clock tomorrow morning. That is the time, I believe, that your crews begin work. Jason, is that correct, at the sandbag distribution? Please, if it's not correct, please come clarify, because we were kind of basing it off of the time that they would need to report.
Mayor, the sandbag operation runs 9 a.m. to 7 p.m.
Do they need to be there early, though, to prepare?
They do. They will come in approximately an hour and a half early for preparation and loading, get their equipment, and head back out.
Okay, well, it's our intent, or at least I think it's our intent. It's Tony's intent and my intent anyway. I have to get to the council, but we wanted to time it so that the first people that go on the clock are going on the clock in the emergency pay. So
8 a.m. will be sufficient.
8 a.m. is sufficient? Okay. Does that still sound reasonable to you, Tony?
I agree.
Okay.
Yes.
Does that sound reasonable? And then as a reminder, our local declarations run automatically for 7 days under our ordinance, but they won't run for 7 days because the city manager, in this case the acting city manager, is empowered to terminate the declaration when it's appropriate to do so. So we won't have to reconvene to bring this to a close. City manager will do that. And I believe you're eyeing like Monday at noonish to kind of.
We're going to monitor the situation going into the weekend. We want to give our staff enough time to make sure the roadways are cleared. We expect to call general employees or non-essential staff back into work at noon on Monday, which will give us time to pay our essential personnel during that cleanup period, but then allow us to start normal operations a little later.
Okay.
And we expect that to be Monday at noon.
Okay. And that's just for informational purposes. The only action required of us as the council is a motion and a vote to begin the state of emergency at whatever time you choose. Again, it's recommended 8 a.m. tomorrow, but that's up to you. Yes?
Got a couple questions. County's already established their state of emergency?
I talked to the county administrator, when I talked to her an hour ago, maybe less than an hour ago, she said I'll be signing it in the next few minutes.
The BOCC approved it.
Yeah, they delegated the authority to her.
To her, okay, all right.
So when I talked to her, she had not actually inked it. That was, like I said, maybe an hour, maybe less ago. So I know it's their intent, and I asked her when theirs will take effect, and she said it will take effect today. So ours will be later than theirs.
8 a.m. in the morning. So then, are we going to be open to EOC?
I don't think that's.
I don't think it's necessary.
So we're putting it together? But
Mike, why don't you come up here so everybody, we can hear you, but somebody might be watching.
So we're actually putting it together tomorrow morning, but we're not going to actually activate it unless need be.
Okay,
So we'll be on standby.
okay, all right. Do you need a motion?
Unless anybody has questions or want to discuss it more, I'm good with a motion.
Okay, move to approve emergency ordinance 1573, declaring a state of emergency in response to threat posed by Invest 97L, authorizing city manager to designate to extend or rescind state of emergency as necessary, beginning at 8 a.m. tomorrow, 8 a.m. August 3rd? 3rd, yes.
Second.
Okay, discussion of the motion? All those in vote?
Whoops.
Mr. Mueller?
Apologize, shouldn't we
That's-
have the clerk maybe read the
Yes.
full title of the ordinance before we do that?
We can certainly do that. Thank you,
Okay.
Mr. Mueller. And I'll ask the acting city clerk to read the title of the ordinance.
An emergency ordinance of the City Council of the City of Temple Terrace, Florida, declaring a state of emergency in response to the threat posed by Invest 97L, authorizing the city manager or his designee to extend or rescind the state of emergency as necessary, suspending all ordinances and rules inconsistent with sections 252.31 to 252.90 Florida statutes or this emergency ordinance through the duration of this emergency, adopting and incorporating State of Florida Executive Order EO 24-156 into this emergency ordinance, providing an effective date.
Good. Thank you, Madam Clerk. And just for clarification for the public who may be watching, I didn't ask for public comment because there are no members of the public in the gallery. So if there is no more discussion, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? No nays. Ordinance is adopted. Thank you. Tony, anything else for the council?
Not this time. Thank you.
Pam? Nothing. Anybody? Okay, very good. We will be adjourned.
Everybody stay safe. If you need help, holler.